welcome to Church History for Chumps. My name is John Simon, and I'm here with my two pals.
Taylor Treadway.
What up? And welcome to CHUMP Talk, which is
Trump Talk, where we talk about Trump. What do you guys think?
Wow. Man, I didn't know we were talking about Trump today.
Have you guys heard those memes that like Donald Trump died?
Yeah,
I saw something about that.
Like he hasn't been seen in public, and they're kind of like FDR. Oh yeah, he can stand. He just hasn't in a while.
It's because he's out in the wilderness acting like a rabid beast.
He's having his Nebuchadnezzar hours.
It's his Nebuchadnezzar girl summer.
Gosh. All right, this is our Chump Talk episode. It's a Q&A. We asked for cues. You guys gave us cues. We honestly have a freaking lot of them. So we're going to push through.
It's good. I love it.
Which we love. Which we really love. I want to start with, I think, the most important question that we got, which was from our boy Enoch, who we love. And I'm going to read his question because it's very heartfelt, and I feel like it needs like a serious answer. And I feel like at the end of this episode, we may not have much capacity for a serious answer.
That's good.
All right. Here's what our brother says. He says, any advice for someone considering going into ministry? I'm 26 and am finishing a missions internship with my church. I'm starting my master's program in engineering and hope to use that degree to help in church revitalization efforts in the post-Christian world. I'm in conversation with my elders about this, but I'm curious about your thoughts on different paths towards ministry, pastoral internships, getting an MDiv, etc. All right.
Great question.
Bro, this is what I do, Enoch. This is literally my job, is to talk with young guys like you and help figure out a path. So there's a couple things, my friend, and you guys jump in or interrupt me whenever you think I'm wrong or whatever.
No, do it, man.
So one,
wrong.
Look at Timothy and Titus for the qualifications of a pastor right now. And I know we talked about it last episode, but I'll elaborate a little further. There's this sentiment going around that God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. And I think that's generally true if you want to use the word called as the sanctifying work of Christ in your life. So Tommy is called to be a dad because he has kids. So God will equip him as long as Tommy pursues the Lord in his life. But it's very different than taking a ministry position somewhere. So we have the qualifications that we're supposed to look at. So I would go through all of those and take those all very seriously, because any board of elders that's going to ordain you is going to grill you on all of those. So that's step number one. And that's also assuming that you have the desire. 1 Timothy 3:1 says, you aspire to a good work. Well, that aspiration is a good thing, and it sounds like you have it. And so the next step is to look realistically about where your season of life is. So is seminary something that you should pursue? You mentioned an MDiv. An MDiv is a massive degree. That's what I'm currently getting right now, and it's 90 credit hours, and it is a lot of work. And you pretty much have to go full time to achieve it in any reasonable time frame. So if you want the MDiv that will equip you, there's many seminaries. I think there's a certain seminary that you should look at the best, this is Gateway Seminary. But any of the seminaries, there's many of them. There's DTS, Masters, the 6 Southern Baptist seminaries. What is that
Masters.
face, Tommy?
I can't believe you said DTS as like the first one.
I was just non-SBC.
I literally had that same thought before Masters.
It's non-SBC.
They're both fine. They're both fine.
Right,
it's okay.
Right. Just don't go
This trio is probably way too opinionated about that topic.
That's
It's
fine.
crazy.
Find
It's
a good,
crazy.
solid seminary that at least believes the Bible's true, and look at their MDiv program. But yeah, so, and then the last thing, and this is arguably the most important, is are you willing to put in the work at church? Because you have to learn how to do these things. You have to learn how to go visit a hospital and talk to, Miss Carol as she's like dealing with her husband dying. You have to learn how to show up at church at 5 a.m. and start cooking for men's breakfast. You have to learn how to deal with somebody grumpy complaining about something, who always has to complain, and you don't just bite their head off. There's a lot of really small practical things that you have to learn that will prepare you. And your church should have something set up for eldership training. And if they don't, seminary can like subsidize that to some level, but really and truly pastoral training has to happen at the church. So if you have the desire, good. Get the qualifications listed in the scripture, and then get yourself trained, ideally in seminary and at your church.
Tommy?
That was good. The best advice I got, I remember hearing on a 9 Marks Pastors Talk podcast, was get as much training, formal and informal training, as you can get your hands on in your 20s and 30s. And that includes everything that Taylor was just talking about. Formal training in seminary, training in the local church. I personally think that training in the local church is more important than seminary in this day and age. I think that many, I don't want to say most, but many men that are operating as pastors today do not have a pastoral bone in their body and should not be in the pastorate.
Boom. See? Me and Tommy, sometimes we knock heads, but sometimes this man, he opens his mouth and a diamond falls out.
I agree with him, but
that was amazing.
I'm not saying this is the case for Enoch, but if someone's at church where the pastor's a goober, you don't want to learn from him. So,
Taylor, this is not, we don't have the time to go back and forth. I think that was great. Tommy, did you want to add anything else before I jump in?
No, it's fine.
Crossing his arms like a little baby. Enoch, dude, let me just say, you're 26. You've got the world as your oyster. I'm just excited for you, bro. And I'm excited to hear exciting things happening in the lives of our listeners, because that just makes it feel like our community is growing. 2 things. One, I love that there's an emphasis in what you wrote on church revitalization in the post-Christian world. I served at a church that was very post-Christian facing, and I think that is a space that needs more churches to focus on that. I think that one of the biggest obstacles for non-believers coming to church is the cultural barrier. So learning how to speak into that will have, I think, a lot of fruits, especially in the coming generations. But I just want to really just double down on what Thomas said, which is your local church will spell beautiful support and prayer and discipleship and mentorship and the Paul to your Timothy, or they will, it could be really harmful. And honestly, dude, like I've got my own experiences, which the boys are very familiar with. But I mean, I literally heard a story today of a young dude who I love a lot, who got into a seminary program, was taken under the wing of this young, really cool pastor who was like really amped to like mentor him. Then that pastor on a whim decided to jump to another church across state lines. The elders at that church paid no support to this young dude, and he basically got bounced around from church to church in town because he was just looking for somewhere to get ministry experience. So the value and the foundation of a good, healthy local church is irreplaceable. So having that, I think, is beautiful. But we love you, Enoch, and we hope that is a beautiful journey for you, brother. We're excited.
Amen.
All right. Okay, we got a few from our boy LM, Mr. Lawrence Marshall. I'm not sure if that's actually true. He said, if Arius had released an album of his Arian jingles, what song titles do you think he would use? I was thinking Not a Rap God. Okay, that's a good starter. All right. What do you guys got?
Taylor's got a great one in the chat.
Well, that's not the title. That's not the titles. That's the actual jingle. It's more
just actually wrote a jingle.
That's what the show notes said. Arius jingle.
I do like as an album title. There was a time when he was not. That sounds like a post post hardcore, like grungy Ohio based album title.
One of the tracks would definitely be Not Quite God, but More Than Man.
Oof. I like that. Yeah. More than a man. It's really good.
More than man.
I like that too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Thomas, you got any?
No, I'm just reading this jingle. Are we only doing track titles or?
Yeah. We don't need what ChatGPT is feeding us.
LM had a throwback. That's an older episode. That's a throwback, bro. That's when
I think there should be a diss track to Nicaea, like no more Mr. Nicaea guy. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's so good, bro. Come on.
Nice.
There's only like 3 homies that didn't sign it, which is pretty gangster if you think about it.
Yeah, I like that.
He's just got a track where he talks about how he's just gonna shoot St. Nicholas with a Glock.
That's right. You came with hands, I'm coming with arms.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
How am I so good at this? Am I an Aryan? Oh my god.
Wow.
This is awful. All right. Next question. Were there any weird Bible translations in the early church, like the modern Queen James, the Gen Z version, etc.?
No, they just killed people if they did.
No, they just wrote their own stuff and were like, "Hey guys, look what I found! Look what I found buried! Yeah. I found this buried outside." And that's how we got the Acts of Saint Peter,
and like the Gnostic Gospels and the Book of Mormon. Yeah, I thought about like the followers of Marcion, like the dudes who really didn't like the Old Testament.
They went through and like edited it,
removed it. Yeah. So like some people just like Thomas Jeffersoned it and just ripped pages out of it and made their own Bible. But I don't think they were. I don't know. I think that the multitude of translations we have is a modern both blessing and problem. I don't know if that existed so much back in the day. What do you think of Eusebius's accounts of early Christian suicide from Book 8, Section 12?
Is that like the circumcillions?
No, when I looked at it, and LM, you'll have to scold me if I was off the money here, but from what it looked like Christians who were voluntarily giving themselves up for martyrdom, but I don't know if it would really fit the bill as suicide. It was maybe just like, I don't know, I do know that there are some accounts in early church history of kind of the circumcillion vibe of Christians who would like shove a Roman guard and get stabbed and call themselves a martyr. But I don't know, I don't think that this was suicide. I don't know if Eusebius would have put it that way, but that's just me.
Did I tell you guys about when I was listening to a Muslim missionary and he was telling how Al-Qaeda, he worked with like Taliban and Al-Qaeda guys, and they would get converted and then they would just be like instantly ready to now, instead of die for Allah, they would go like, I'm going to go preach in the town square and have Al-Qaeda kill me. And like, he'd have to like talk them like, nope, hold up.
yeah. Hey, cultural values, they get copy and pasted into Christianity, basically. Yeah. That's really interesting. All right, we're going to go to our buddy Elijah Hershey. Thank you, LM, for those wonderful questions. Elijah, our buddy from Maine, shout out to Maine. I'm going to read your questions in opposite order because I think it'll play a little better. He wants to know our testimonies. So we got to be brief because we got a lot to talk about. But Taylor,
I was born a poor black child.
Stop it.
Wow. Big reveal. Big reveal from Taylor.
Only half right.
No, I like to say that I've been in a Baptist church since I was 2 weeks old. And I was saved at a tent revival. It's so good. I love it. And then Pastor
Wait, for real?
Yep. When I was in like the third grade.
Thing.
Yeah, I know.
I love that.
And then it keeps going in the Baptist way. In the third grade, And then like 6 months later, I was in the 4th grade, and Pastor Burcham came to our house one evening and sat at the kitchen table and made sure I understood the gospel. And then he said, all right, we can baptize him. It happened at the kitchen table. And then I got baptized. And then I did the whole high school thing where you're like, I take my faith seriously. I need to get baptized again. And you're like, oh my gosh. I have two baptisms for the remission of sins.
Yeah. I got two, man. I got two also, man. I get it. I was in that same place.
I love that way of putting it. I've got 2 baptisms for the remission of sins.
That's right. One for each hand. Taylor, are you a cessationist or a continuationist?
Oh my gosh.
This is what Elijah asked.
I have to answer, don't I? I don't like labels.
Gross. Okay.
I would say, if we're defining cessationism as like modern John MacArthur cessationism.
Well, here, let's define our terms real quick.
Hyper cessationism.
It's basically a question of, do you believe the spiritual gifts are still active? Cessationists believe that they're not. Continuationists believe that they are. And spiritual gifts, I mean like tongues, prophecy, things like that.
I think I would be labeled as a cessationist by continuationists, but I don't want to label myself a cessationist. Because like I believe in healing, but I don't believe people have the gift of healing. I think like if in that moment God heals somebody through your prayer, that's still all God, right?
I think that still falls within cessationism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Doc. And then last question for Taylor before I go on to Thomas. Are you Calvinist, Arminian, or something in between?
I'm going to answer that question by telling you I have a tulip tattooed on my forearm. It's huge.
There we go.
It's huge.
Calvinist as can be. Huge.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Taylor. Okay, Tommy, what's your testimony, bro?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've told this story different ways over the course of my life. As I get older, I feel like I think of my testimony in different ways. I've really gotten to a point where I can declare with the psalmist in Psalm 22 that, from my birth I have been cast on you, and you've been my God from my mother's womb. And I really see the Christian life as a movement from like immaturity to maturity. And a lot of what I think I previously thought of as like conversion experiences, plural, was really just like scales falling off my eyes more and more as I understood who God is and the work that He's done for me. I was raised in a Christian home, and I was baptized when I was 12. I remember some of my earliest memories are of prayer, of my parents leading me in prayer, of being taught about God. So I'm very thankful for that. I, over the course of my teenage years, definitely think struggled with some of my action matching my confession, which I think is a common thread that a lot of us share. But that's where I used to think like, I didn't fully understand the gospel until I was 18, so I wasn't really saved until before then. And I see it more as now a movement of immaturity to maturity, and that continues to be the case. And I long for more maturity as I grow in my faith.
Yeah, beautifully put, man. Are you a cessationist or a continuationist?
You know what? I don't think that I make a good cessationist. I'm certainly not a continuationist in the sense that I've never been in circles that really emphasize assigned gifts. As a pastor, I would absolutely resist someone trying to speak in tongues in our service if there was not an interpreter, which is something that I've never seen or heard of being done. That said, I'm not totally against the idea of people having what they call a private prayer language. When it comes to healing, that's the one that I'm like really like fine with. I spent some time in India where heard enormous amounts of testimony from across that country of just insane healing stuff. Like, hey, this guy's leg was shattered. We laid hands on him and prayed for him, and we heard his bones like moving back together, and then he was healed and he could walk. Like
Dang.
over and over, like that sort of thing. And my view on that is that wherever in history, because post the cross and the resurrection, Jesus greatly hindered the works of Satan and the demons that are worshipped as gods. And so it's not as overt as it is like at the time of the Gospels. You see this crazy like demonic stuff going on. And then at the time of the apostles, we see kind of that war continuing to unfold, but the old age was passing away and a new age is being ushered in. However, there's still vestiges of that. So in a country like India, where you have people straight up worshiping a literal demon who has told them his name, and they have an idol set up to him, and they're worshiping him in their town square, that opens you up to higher levels of demonic oppression, but also higher levels of Holy Spirit-led liberation, which you see manifesting in miraculous healing. I think the gift of tongues, as it works its way out in the church, is actually when a missionary is able to speak in the native tongue of someone that they're trying to minister to. I've heard testimony of that happening. I don't think it's the sort of Babel speak that we see in modern charismatic movements. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like Taylor. I don't think I neatly fit into either camp, but I'm okay with the idea of the Spirit doing things that don't fit our categories.
We're soft continuationists.
There you go.
All right, I like that. And then, Tommy, are you a Calvinist or an Arminian or an Armenian?
I am what they call a. I'm a weapons grade Calvinist.
Military issued.
He never left the cage. He just turned
there's an article that I would encourage you to read, Elijah, by Rich Lusk, and it's if you Google Calvinism, not just a pretty tulip. It's really
Taylor,
good.
shots fired. What a dork. Wow, got him.
I'm in the middle, baby. Always will be.
In American church history, Calvinism has sometimes been boiled down to only talking about soteriology or the doctrine of salvation.
Cannons of
Calvin,
Dort, baby.
Calvin had a lot of good stuff about civil life, the sacraments, in particular in Book 4 of his Institutes, and I think that I'm big on Calvin.
Nice.
You're like
All
an
right,
actual Calvinist, not just reformed soteriologically.
Well, here's the thing. I feel
I'd
like
to hope so.
whatever. I'll just get into my stuff. We
All
got.
right, I'm going to be the interviewer now. Hey, John,
Ooh.
share your testimony.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, well, before the foundation of the earth, the beautiful Lord had a thought of me millions and trillions of years before my
already answered the Calvinist question. Okay.
No, dude, I was raised in both my parents were like raised Christian, church going, but really not in healthy Christian environments at all. So my parents raised me real nominal. I, said grace before dinner, and I said, now I lay me down to sleep before I went to bed, and all the basic stuff. But, yeah, I mean, my dad started taking my sister and I to church when I was like 9. I started going to like a missionary Baptist church, big, predominantly African American church. Just kind of started to realize like the Bible is like amazing, and this idea of God was so much bigger than what I had previously thought. And so I just kind of called myself a Christian, like, and it became like a big part of my identity very early. I do feel like I had a very like pivotal moment where my faith became really real to me. And I think that was what initiated the process of understanding the gospel as like, it's not how hard I can work, but it's the finished work of Christ that secures us. But yeah, kind of like Tommy. I mean, I see the grace and faithfulness and steadfast love of God in every day of my life, even when I was a little tiny baby. Even growing up in a family that had its fair share of dysfunction and, you know, crazy stuff. So, yeah, I also got baptized twice like Taylor, cause I wanted to make sure it really stuck. But really cause I went to a church that, insisted that I get baptized again, because according to them, because I didn't have a full grasp of the gospel when I originally got baptized when I was like 9, I needed to go again. And Taylor, I think the guy who made me do that, you know, he used to run a school pretty close to you. So I would not insist on that. I do kind of wish I didn't get baptized again, but you know, God is sovereign. It's all part of the plan, baby.
Nice. Okay, so are you? I don't want to nice that. That was beautiful, John. That was beautiful.
Nice.
That's like a podcast host fatal flaw, right? Somebody just pours their heart out, and you're like, "Wow, that's interesting." So
good stuff.
Yeah. Are you a cessationist or a continuationist?
Brother, I want nothing more than to actually call myself a continuationist, but I agree with everything you guys have said. It's so hard because here's my big flaw, or my big problem. What I saw when I first got into theology and like deep cut biblical Christianity was
Strange
like,
fire.
yeah, well, it was, I saw this very hyper intellectual grasp of Christianity, which was super, what I learned in seminary to be called post-enlightenment, which is basically like, if you can't scientific method this stuff, then it's not legit. And so don't talk about demons, don't talk about God speaking to you, just read the Bible, be a good Christian, pay your taxes, yada, yada. And I think that never sat well with me, because just like Thomas, I've always been endeared to the stories of our overseas brothers and sisters. And I was just like, dude, I've heard way too many crazy stories to just be like, actually, you know. And even like, you know, I had a good friend who told me a story where his testimony was him being cradled by the physical Christ in his arms as he wept. And I'm like, what, I'm going to look at this guy and be like, actually, that's probably a demon or something. It's like, he's a Christian. A demon saved him. Are you kidding me? So, but yeah, I also grew up in a church with some pretty heavy Pentecostal influence, and it sucks to be in a super Pentecostal church sometimes, especially when you're not super emotional and everyone's crying and, you know, rolling all over the floor and stuff. So, yeah, I'm a softie like you guys. I'm in the same boat.
I think it's worth noting that a lot of what people think of when they say cessationism today has been so influenced by John MacArthur and the Strange Fire conference, when that is actually, I think, what we should probably call hyper cessationism.
Yeah. That's probably a good point.
A lot of what historically has been considered to be cessationism before, you know, the 20th century, when we see a lot of the hyper charismatic stuff come out, would just basically be where we're at.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a big difference between like Jeff Durbin and crew call themselves continuationists, and then they caveat it with everything that we're saying. But like when I think of continuationist, I don't think of Jeff Durbin. I think of Sean Quake. Like,
yeah, we think of Elevation and Bethel, you know.
Yeah, not like, wow, I was street preaching and somebody who only spoke Spanish understood and responded to the call of the gospel. Like, like that's what we're comfortable with, and we're like, yeah, that's amazing. But not
right. What we're not comfortable with is, you know, I made this dude's leg grow.
Yeah. We took
like that.
7 Mountain Dominion over Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
My favorite is when Kenneth Copeland blew COVID away. Have you guys seen that video?
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
dude, it's so good.
It's
so good.
Man. We are actually making horrific time, by the way.
All right, we're gonna keep moving.
Calvinist, Arminian, or something else?
I'm Dutch Reformed, bro. That's my title, and I'm sticking to it. I'm a Calvinist. But here's the thing. I'm not gonna fall under everything Calvin says in his Institutes. I'm not gonna agree with everything the French Calvinists said in the Reformation. Soteriologically, definitely Calvinist, but I don't know. I've got a bunch of views. Also, I'm going to a Baptist church right now. I'm just a sad puppy in a little sad world.
Welcome home, JS.
It's awful. I hate it.
Historically, Baptists are Calvinists. Be quiet.
Oh, yeah, sure. All right. No. You're probably right. Okay. Jackson Gagney, our boy, said, "What's the reach of your podcast? Like, how many listens per episode generally throughout the whole show?" Which, I don't know, man. A real magician doesn't reveal his secrets. I don't know. I feel kind of weird about that, but I guess we can say we're very grateful for the audience. We usually get around 500 to 600 listens per week, which we're super grateful for, and usually around 2,600 downloads per month. But yeah, I mean, we're small. We're not making really any money that's not given to us through Buy Me a Coffee, but we're just here for the love of the game. So
it's interesting. As far as podcasts go, we're small. However, we have a really diverse and global listener base, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't know how so many of you found us, and it's just always cool when we hear from somebody who's like, "Oh yeah, I'm listening from wherever around the world." So yeah, thank you for listening.
What we're finding is that people find us by typing. For some reason, you guys type Diagnetus into Spotify, and you're hoping
or Montanism,
and you're hoping and praying, and then you're like, "Wow, thank the Lord for this."
Spotify found one result,
right, and it's us.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's how one of our OGs, Ellen, found us.
That's right. So we'll keep doing the obscure stuff.
Yeah, and we're
that
very
nobody else will.
Listens. Honestly, guys, since all of you that listen seem to be really committed fans, and we love that, if you want to see us grow, throw us up on your Facebook or on your Instagram. Just say, "I've been listening."
Oh, yeah.
Like, throw it out there if you want to see us grow.
Tell your friends, bro. All right. This question's been haunting me since I read it. What is your favorite work of fiction? Can be a book or a movie or something else. I think I know Thomas's, which is a bummer. I don't know mine, but I think I know Thomas's.
Okay, what's your answer?
Is it the Space Trilogy?
Yes and no. Yes. But I thought about this, and I think I have to say the entire corpus of Lewis's fiction, because I can't rule out Narnia. I can't rule out The Great Divorce. And they're different things, but it's all so good. If you haven't read Narnia, if you haven't read the Space Trilogy, what in the world are you doing with your life?
Dang.
Do it.
Okay. All right. That's good. Tay?
Oh, mine. Do you know mine?
I don't
Game
think
of
so.
Thrones.
Oh my gosh.
No. I'm like the opposite with
just some like non-canon Star Wars.
Yeah, hey, that's actually a good guess. No, it's Lord of the Rings.
Hey, there you go.
Tolkien universe is just unbelievable.
That is really good.
I feel like we just inadvertently answered your dad's question, which I don't know if made it on our list. C.S. Lewis or Chesterton. Oh, well, no, it was Lewis or Chesterton, I think was his question.
We'll get to it. But
okay.
I love the Lord of the Rings. I think the Lord of the Rings are beautiful, and I love Tolkien's impact on pop culture. Is he's kind of like the Mount Fuji, in like Japanese art, like the rule of Mount Fuji. It's always there, and then if it's not there, that's in itself is an artistic choice. So Tolkien has, if he is not there, they've purposely chose to not put him in as far as all the nerd stuff that I like. But Tolkien's just beautiful. I love him. I love the Lord of the Rings. I love his thoughts on everything. I could talk about Lord of the Rings every day.
Nice.
That's good. I feel like I got to go more like out of left field because I had a couple thoughts for this one.
Fast and Furious.
How about just Dwayne The Rock Johnson's career in the WWF? It's my favorite work of fiction.
There you go.
No, I'm gonna go movie because you did say movie, and I'm gonna go with Pan's Labyrinth because that movie really, really just, I don't know, does a lot for me. It is both historical and fantasy at the same time. And it is, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just love pieces of fiction where the grasp on reality, you're kind of asking, like, is what I'm watching real? Is it unreal? Like, it's kind of this back and forth of, like, not even being sure you can trust what you're watching as the viewer. I just think it's really cool. And I just think I don't know, it gets my weirdo, esoteric look at the universe.
Is that the one with David Bowie?
It's also in Spanish. No, that's The Labyrinth.
Oh.
And that's a weirdo freaking movie.
They're both weird, I guess.
But I'm glad you didn't clarify. I'm glad we clarified because that would have bummed me out. All right, last one from Jackson. Where should listeners vote to send Taylor on missions next year? I'm gonna do. Yeah. Is there like a geocache like randomizer?
Just use GeoGuessr and see where it takes us.
That's a good idea. All right, GeoGuessr, but we'll have to guess it first.
Well, if we get it wrong, it'll tell us where it's at.
Oh, good call. All right. I don't want to log in for it. Okay. Random.
And I don't get a say.
No. Sorry, man.
Okay.
Random place, Google Earth. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. Ooh, this place looks pretty. Hold the phone.
It's like
where are we?
Detroit.
It's like the Mongolians.
Michigan.
All right. It just. Oh, we're in Barun Tarun.
What? Is that a country?
We are in. No, I bet it's Finnish. Oh, you're going to Barun Tarun, which is a province of Mongolia.
Oh,
big
wow.
dog.
I guessed it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Good.
It's pretty grassy.
I can do the Mongolian throat singing.
Do it.
No, I actually can't. I just do my horrible version and annoy Brady.
I've got a. My brother Josiah can actually do it. My brother Josiah taught himself to like overtone sing like that.
I think it's cool. All right, there you go. I'll go to Mongolia.
It's all right. Sweet. Thanks, man. All right. Let's see. Nick Lang asked, "Who's your favorite heretic?"
So the way this was on the list, it just says favorite heretic ? And then it says Nick Lang.
That's
Nick Lang's my favorite heretic, yeah. and Nick is actually the one person I know who calls himself a heretic more than anyone I know.
Very much so. Yes.
I was thinking about this. I don't have someone from history. I've got a modern one though. Theologically and his writings wise, I can't stand Richard Rohr. However, I bet that I could hang with Richard Rohr. Like, I could kick back in the mountains of New Mexico with that dog and just have a beer and just chop it up. I could chop it up with Richard Rohr. We'd argue hard, but it could happen.
I love that. Yeah, I've got a weird feel. I've got a weird vibe from Richard Rohr. I think I carry the exact same amount of like theological concern, but just, I don't know. It's the whimsy, man. I'm just like, you're so freaking endearing sometimes. Yeah. He's very whimsy, bro. I also have a slightly more modern one. I read about this dude. I've been reading through. I've been on a
David
cult
Koresh.
binge lately, dude. No. That's super close. I've been on a cult binge lately, and I'm reading a book on Waco right now. David Koresh was absolutely a heretic. Also, this is why you shouldn't be a Seventh-day Adventist, but that's for another episode. But I read one on Jonestown with Jim Jones, and Jim Jones was influenced by this dude named Father Divine. And he was this 5'2" black dude on the East Coast who would do these like revival preaching sermons, but he
Sounds
was
like a Marvel character,
I'm God.
dude.
but that was his thing. He was like, I am God. And he would do these like fabricated healings and stuff. He had this massive following. And I was like, man, this guy sucks, but also so interesting.
That's your favorite?
Yeah, I'll put him down. Father Divine.
So-
Look him up.
Divine.
You got to remember, I try to be really ecumenical, so I take that like heretic stamp pretty seriously. Like if you're putting like
Yeah.
capital H on somebody.
Right.
So I have an old one. Because I would hang out with Sean Feucht, and I don't think he's a heretic. I think he's wrong about a lot, but like I think that goober will be
Heterodox.
He'll be in
Little
heaven.
Heterodox.
Yeah, like Sean Feucht can lead worship rallies in heaven, right? And I'll be there singing. But John Simon, no. Anyway,
I
Pass.
was like, not in my heaven.
my favorite heretic is Apollinarius. Apollinarius.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
That poor guy. He
tried really hard.
He was
to not be an
horrified at
Arian.
Arianism. He was like, "This is wrong. How dare you?" And then like overcorrected. And then the church was like, "Heresy, condemned in council."
That's a great way of putting it.
This poor guy.
Have you guys seen that GIF of The Simpsons where Homer throws himself out of the burning house and he lands on a mattress and bounces back into the burning house? Like that's what Apollinarius did.
I feel and like I think Apollinarius will be in heaven. Like I feel so bad. I feel so bad for that guy. Especially in a world where like Christological developments were still happening, you know?
Yeah, they didn't know what they were doing yet. This is the Wild West, baby. Come on.
He just went like a little too far, and maybe he was annoying in person, and so they were like, "We don't want this guy." I don't know.
They're like, honestly, we're done with this dude.
I feel bad for him though. He's my favorite heretic.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good answer. All right, our buddy Tristan Samuel said, "What is your favorite trilogy to watch?" Taylor, we already have yours.
Yes, the Lord of the Rings
Hobbit.
extended. Okay.
The
Lord
Hobbit.
of the Rings, and you have to watch the extended version, or you're not watching the movies.
Mm.
Like, I don't know why you would choose to not. It's like going to like a 5-star restaurant and being like, "Oh, just give me one plate." That's not why you're here. You don't understand. This is an experience.
No, it's like going to a restaurant and being like, "Hey, can I get the food that the chef wanted me to get, but then like some extra that like fell on the floor?"
Whoa.
That's what extended cuts are.
Not
it's
in
like,
this
"Hey, can we
one.
get some more stuff that the director didn't want?"
No,
who
the
made
director-
the extended
no.
cut?
No.
I don't know.
Jackson did. He wanted it to be that way. But apparently people don't want to sit in the theaters for 5.5 hours.
Shame on them. Thomas, what's your favorite trilogy? I
Well,
almost
I'm
said
not
Trinity.
nearly the cinephile that John is. It's the Lord of the Rings for me as well. I'm
Man
trying
of
to even think
culture.
That's
about
good.
like if there's
That's good.
other
Yeah.
trilogies.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. What if mine was like Fast and the Furious 3, 4, and 5?
Dude, I was just thinking that. I was like 4, 5, and 7.
Not even sequential.
Yeah.
Just like the 3 of my favorites. No, dude, my favorite trilogy is perhaps the most over abused trilogy of all time. It's the OG Spider-Man trilogy. Sam
Good
Raimi,
answer.
Tobey Maguire. I literally I think Spider-Man 2 is up there with The Dark Knight as like one of the, it's on the Mount Rushmore of the best superhero films of all time. It's like that with Logan. It's so good, bro.
Okay.
Spider-Man's pretty much unassailable. Like I've never seen a Spider-Man movie that I didn't like because the character is that good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If there is a superhero, I think Spider-Man probably embodies that Christ figure role better than Superman does. But that's for another episode.
Ooh.
All right. What are your takes on the Catholic Crusades?
I had to look up exactly which crusades we were talking about. Do you guys want me to answer?
Dude, you're the one that's clearly going to have a hot take.
I think the views are varied. I think they're I think we all have varied views. But Thomas, I know you want to. Yeah.
Well, I was just looking up the four Catholic crusades. All were dealing with pushing back against Islam. And if you want my take, I mean, I think that it was really, really important work that they were doing. I've been doing a little bit more research on this for myself. One day we'll attempt to do a Crusades series
probably, yeah.
Which will be really fun. It'll also take a lot of time, but I've been reading. So there's a guy by the name of Raymond Ibrahim who's been doing a lot of good work on this, and he has 2 books that the interested listener should look into. One is called Sword and Scimitar, which is a history of some important battles in between Islam and the West. And then he has another book called Defenders of the West, which is more about individual characters. But he, using oftentimes Muslims' own histories, he just paints a picture that's extremely, extremely horrifying of basically what Islam was doing in their rapid spread, and how important it was that the European nations pushed back against it. So it's obviously complex. Each of the Crusades has their own intricacies. Some of the Crusades are dumb. I will tell a funny story, though. One of the Crusades, which I don't think is one of the Catholic Crusades, it was called like the People's Crusade. And I remember sitting with Brad Mella, who's been on the pod. He's teaching a church history class on the Crusades. And he's talking about how the People's Crusade was basically just like a bunch of like farmers and like regular people who wanted to go retake the Holy Land. And because they weren't like, I'm not sure they were sanctioned by the church even. And so they were doing a lot of like pillaging along the way, kind of the stuff that you sometimes hear like a popular conception of the Crusades being like. And so they just kind of suck. And then they get to, I think maybe they get to Jerusalem, and Brad's teaching this class, and he's just like, and they were completely decimated because they only had like pitchforks and stuff. And I just started laughing in class, like me and one other student, and Brad starts laughing too. And I got Brad laughing about that. And because he kind of chuckled as he said it, he's like, and they were completely decimated. And several people in our class were scandalized by it. But I was like, that's kind of funny.
That's good. Oh man. Yeah, I'm when we do a series on the Crusades, we'll get more into the Crusades. I've heard some very sound defenses of the Crusades. One of my favorite medieval theologians was a huge supporter and advocate of the Crusades, Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. I've also heard some stories about and from the Crusades, which I think are really gruesome and should make anyone filled with the Spirit kind of shudder a little bit. But yeah, it takes a lot. It's a lot of nuance. History's messy.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I think that they were a positive. I just feel bad, when I was in Ethiopia and you realize like this is like the one place that didn't fall to like reign of Islam. And you realize like how blessed that nation is. I don't know. It's just sad to think about. Islam's not good, so they conquered a lot, and I kind of like applaud a general effort to fight against that. But then you get into the messy nuance of how it went down.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, good.
All right. What is the history of the communion of the saints doctrine? Who wants to tackle that one?
I could take a crack at it.
Go for it.
So, I don't know who asked this question.
Serena de Grazio.
So without knowing Serena's background, I mean, depending on who you ask, you're going to get different answers to this, but essentially it's the idea that all those who are in Christ, both living and dead, share a common communion. And so this is confessed in the Apostles' Creed.
Serena DeGarmo. I'm sorry, Serena. I said your last name wrong. I'm sorry, Thomas.
R.I.P. Yeah, so it's confessed in the Apostles' Creed. One of the things is, I believe in the communion of saints. And what that means is essentially, so if you're Roman Catholics see like a 3-tiered communion. And so you either have people who are living on earth, people who are in purgatory, who are being like refined, and then you have people who are in heaven. The three of us would share a more Protestant, and I would argue biblical conception of the world and of heaven, in that those who are living on earth, who are in Christ, share a communion with those who are who have died. Their bodies have died, but they are still alive, and their souls are in heaven, resting with Christ, possibly even worshiping Christ alongside all of the saints and living creatures and elders that worship the Trinity at all times, waiting for the resurrection. And particularly when we are gathering with the saints on the Lord's Day, we're gathering with the saints, other Christians who are in our midst, in the room with us, but there's something mystical happening where we are also singing alongside and communing with the saints who are in heaven.
All right.
I don't know anything. So I don't really know how to answer like the history question, because that's just like what Christians have always believed. Mm-hmm. You end up with different kind of layers to that. And so the Orthodox actually have a really, really cool linear view where it's like, no matter where someone died in history, they're still experiencing time. And so I think this would be my view as well, that people who died before Christ's incarnation, death, and resurrection they went into Sheol, and Sheol was more or less a good or bad place depending on whether or not you had faith. If you had faith, then you were resting in Abraham's bosom, which was basically a place of rest for the faithful. But you weren't resting in heaven like saints are now. And so when Jesus died and rose, part of the work that he did, so another thing we confess is that he descended into hell, or he descended to the dead, and he liberated the saints who were waiting in Sheol and brought them into paradise, which is why he can also say to the other thief on the cross next to him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." John and I actually had the opportunity to participate in a audio drama that our buddy at Creative Orthodox did. If you go onto Spotify and look up Anastasis, which is Anastasis, The Harrowing of Hades audio drama. It's an audio drama that kind of takes that Orthodox perspective where you have really interesting linear things happening. For example, people are in Abraham's bosom waiting for the promised Messiah. And then all of a sudden, like, Moses gets called out for a while for like the transfiguration. And then he comes back and he says like, "Hey, like Elisha, I met your master Elijah. He was there," which like brings to mind like, oh yeah, maybe like Elijah, since he never died, didn't go to Sheol. He didn't go to Abraham's bosom. There's all sorts of interesting reflections that the Orthodox have on that I think is worth considering.
I think it's on YouTube too.
Is it?
I think so. I might be wrong, but it should be.
Is there like images that go along with it on YouTube?
I want to say so, yeah. But
okay,
again,
cool.
I might be hallucinating. I'm not sure. Shoot, I think we're down to our last question, boys. Who would you rather sit down and have a conversation with? G.K. Chesterton or C.S. Lewis?
I feel bad because I feel like G.K. Chesterton would be really, really good to sit down with, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot, but C.S. Lewis. My goodness. Guys, they're both Titans. How do you pick? I pick C.S.
How do you even do it? I'll be different and just say Chesterton, just because I do love Lewis a lot. I love Mere Christianity, but I read Orthodoxy last year from Chesterton, and it gave me a really, really big appreciation for him. I think C.S. Lewis might be the better fiction writer. I haven't read any of the Father Brown stuff from Chesterton, but I from my personal spicy take, I think Chesterton might have been the more captivating thinker, or at the very least, the better writer. So I don't know. I'm gonna say our boy GK. Tommy, I know there's no competition for you.
No, actually, I was going to say Chesterton as well.
Really?
Yeah, even though I think Lewis's work is more important than Chesterton's in the long run. I think that Lewis is a bigger mind and writer. However, I get this feeling with Lewis that it would be like one of those don't meet your heroes kind of moments where like he wouldn't be a good conversationist.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know, something about Chesterton just seems like he'd be a little bit more apt for the sit down.
I think the problem is that I don't think either of them would want to talk to us.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think they'd be fine, but they'd be like, "Oh, okay, great. Yeah, sure. How long do I have to talk to you for?"
If the question was which one would you rather meet, I would rather meet Lewis. Like if I could only perform necromancy once and bring one of them back.
It only works one time.
But since we believe in the communion of the saints and we'll get the opportunity to meet both of them, I'll probably sit down with Chesterton first in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. Have I told you guys about my like thought experiment? I'm not sure if that's the right word for it, but I have this concept that that there's like an exclusive club in heaven where all the martyrs go. And it's like one of those like sit down areas at an airport. If you're like, oh, exclusive Delta Platinum members get to go here.
Yeah. It's the best.
I think it's like that. Yeah.
They have it. They have that.
I think it's real.
Revelation talks about it. It's under the altar. That's like where their special lounge is.
There we see. I knew I was onto something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
You know, there is one more question. So you know how you put that like oh, now I'm the clickety clack. Sorry.
You're typing so loudly, bro.
Sorry.
Stop IMing your wife, you weirdo.
My mic is messed up, I think. Anyway, speaking of my wife, Brandy actually asked that question that you labeled in the show notes as Taylor's dumb dinner question.
Oh.
She didn't know. She told me, she's like, I accidentally asked it as you on Spotify. I was like, oh, that's okay. We'll answer it. So we have to answer it.
I was wondering why Taylor asked a question. I was like, dude, it's your show, you dork.
Right. It was, what was her exact wording, John Simon?
It was like, do all leftovers work if you reheat them and add an egg and eat them with a tortilla?
Right. Can you take all dinner leftovers? My thing is like, I feel like yes, in a lot of situations, but there's certain stuff like I don't want to add an egg to spaghetti. Like I'll eat spaghetti.
That sounds kind of awful.
I'll eat spaghetti in a tortilla. I don't think I'll eat spaghetti.
That's the gout talking, brother. You gotta stop.
Stop. I'll eat most things. Reheated in a skillet.
You know that Interstellar scene where it's Matthew McConaughey from like The Other Time, and he's like, no, like that was the gout looking at you, being like, I'll eat spaghetti in a tortilla. It's like, no, stop, no.
Yes. Think about this though. Think about it. You got some mashed potatoes, roast beef, throw them in a skillet, crack an egg in there.
Ew.
Put it in a
Like, that
tortilla.
doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
I think you just proved your wife wrong.
I know.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
Even like
Yeah.
orange chicken, I don't really want to put.
Crack an egg, eat it with the tortilla. No, that sounds
Okay,
nasty.
what food does this actually work for?
I think if you made like a real basic like stir fry, that's just like a protein and some veggies.
A stir fry,
that would work like
already
a
has
charm.
eggs.
Not always. No. If it's just like some like pepper steak with some bell peppers and onions and mushrooms, like that would be great with an egg and a tortilla.
Dude, Brandy just texted me because she can hear me. She goes, "We've done spaghetti sauce with eggs and a tortilla."
Oh gosh. She's like, we did this.
Dude, chili and fajitas. This is why everyone's like, Taylor, this is why you're fat and have gout. Okay. But Brandy's not fat and doesn't have gout, and I ate the stuff she feeds me.
I just had that same thought. Like, what are you doing in between your tortilla sessions, man?
Oh, no. Brandy's hitting the calisthenics.
I don't know.
No, what is Taylor eating in between the
Taylor's like, I had a brownie, put it on the skillet, crack an egg, eat it with a tortilla. That's for cereal. Pour some cereal in the skillet.
Crack an
Pour
egg.
some milk. Crack an egg.
air fry a steak? Crack an egg.
Eat it with a tortilla.
Okay, that actually sounds good though.
Oh my god!
I should start a podcast
gracious.
called like Big Boy Stories.
Big boy lore.
Big Boy lore. Oh, I start my intro would be like, if you're not a big boy, turn this off. This isn't for
What do you? What did you call the fries that you get just for yourself?
Oh, that's a
from the
car
drive-thru?
fry.
Car fry, crack an egg, get a tortilla.
Oh man.
I would watch like a vlog of Taylor getting the car fry, and then he pulls an air fryer out of his glove compartment, and he's like, "Here's where the real magic happens, boys. Crack an egg,
Crack an
throw it in the air fryer,
Put it in a tortilla.
put it in a tortilla."
Oh my.
All right, that's all our questions. Thank you guys so much for listening, especially everyone who participated. Dude, I love these episodes. These are always so much fun, and you guys get to know a little bit more about us, which I guess
they're
that's
thinking
nice.
we've like misled them into thinking we're all diverse, and they're like they're all Calvinist, soft cessationists, and we're
They're all
saved
Christians.
saved at a young age.
They're all Christians.
I'm sorry, I don't have some story of like killing people in the crypts.
It's never too late.
You're right. I should go make a testimony.
That's right. Have you guys seen those where it's like Oprah was 45 when she started her first show. Albert Einstein was 60. It's never too late.
That's right.
What if it was like Paul was 30 when he killed his first Christian?
Never too late to write your story.
Nebuchadnezzar was 60 when he burned Jews alive.
Right.
So, Taylor, why didn't you talk about getting bullied on YouTube for your guitar videos in your testimony?
No.
I thought that was an important.
Why? How do you know about that?
Yeah, how did
You
you
told
hear
me
about
about
that?
that.
Oh,
I told you
yeah.
about this?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Okay, was that like a deep dark secret?
This
No,
is
it's
deep
not.
Taylor lore.
No.
Taylor.
So when I was like 14, I would play like metal riffs on guitar, and it was like popular to record them and put them on YouTube. And some of these got like 60,000 views, like a lot. But then there was also all
Did
these
people like your videos,
Then some of
Taylor?
them would be like, dude, this is so sick. You're so young. I can't. You have such a bright future. And then other people would be like, you fat piece of
It would
gave you the
literally
hardened shell that you needed.
Dude, but the
Dude.
thing is like little Taylor is so arrogant. I struggle with it still to this day. But even Taylor back
Just
then was
drove you.
like, I was like, I'm not concerned with the opinions of peasants.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
it didn't
love
get
it.
to me. I was like, I look back on it and I'm like, man, I was like hardcore cyberbullied in the YouTube comment section, and I didn't even care. Like, I went to school the next day. I was like, haha, look at this one, guys.
That's awesome.
Kill yourself, kid.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of them.
I think that
were
means you had a good
awful.
dad. So shout out Taylor's dad.
Yeah, shout out to
out.
David Treadway.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
It is.
All right, let's wrap it up. It's late.
Trap it up.
Trap it up. All right. Thanks, guys.
You should write
Thanks
a
for listening
church
to Chump
history
Talk.
verse.
God bless you.
I retired. I don't rap anymore, man.
But I'm not a rapper. All right, bye, guys.
All right, bye.